Nantilah. Okay, good morning everyone. Morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Morning, sir.
Okay, I should have 25 students in this Google Meet, but however, I only see 24 of you. Is anyone sharing device? Are you sharing device? Who's not attending? Oh, si siapa? Audrey. Aud, siapa? Audrey Tiffany. Anak Amok. Okay, never mind. Okay, I'm sure you have read a little bit about anthropology, um, as I have assigned you this morning. So, in this class, we will look at the anthropology of dance, just a brief overview about anthropology of dance with the understanding of what anthropology is. Um, hold on. Okay, you guys can see this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, I will try to finish this class by 12:30 lah. So let's finish everything in 1 hour. So we will have a short discussion, or perhaps we can have the discussion during the lecture. All right. So, anthropology of dance, you cannot study this subject without looking at anthropology at first. So, you need to understand what is anthropology. Can someone share about what is anthropology? What have you found in the internet? Priscilla?
Okay, what I found, anthropology is the scientific study of humanity concerned with human behavior, human biology, cultures, societies, and linguistics in
Mhm.
both the present and past, including past human species.
So, anthropology is about the scientific study of humans. So, can anyone make the explanation of what is anthropology simpler? Give a simple definition of what is anthropology. Try
So
to
can I try?
yes, sure. Try to imagine that people outside, I mean, people outside from UPSI ask you, so what have you studied about anthropology of dance? You were studying about dance anthropology in UPSI. So tell me what is anthropology. So you have to answer. You don't give people a complicated answer. So you give people simple explanation of what is anthropology, and then if people require further explanation, then only you give um, more elaboration on what have you explained. Okay, go on. Siapa tadi?
So to make it simpler, anthropology means is a study of what makes us a human. How does the human evolve in dance, and how they differ from one and another?
Okay, wait. Don't include dance just yet. We need to understand what is anthropology first. Then only we combine these two words, anthropology and dance, to try to understand of what does the anthropology of dance means. Okay, thank you. Anyone? Anthropology. What is anthropology? Simple definition. Give simple definition, simple words where people can understand you. Not giving any explanation of what is anthropology. Cuba.
Can I try to?
Yes, sure.
Okay, anthropology is the study of people, past and present, with a focus on understanding the human condition both culturally and biologically.
Biologically, okay. With the focus of come again. With the focus to what?
Condition both culturally and biologically.
Culturally and biologically. Okay. So basically, anthropology is about understanding the human, right? So this is a field that is trying to understand human. What is the behavior of those humans that we are looking at? Are we looking from the point of view of biology? Are we looking from the point of view of their culture, from the point of view of them as a society? So anthropology is basically we try to understand people. People is human, right? So we try to understand people. So from there, you should ask yourself, if you want to understand people, from which perspective are you looking at? So the perspective is you can choose from the linguistic perspective of people, from the cultural perspective of people, from the biology perspective of people. So the main point here is to try to understand people. So in people, it means that you are trying to understand their behavior. What are they doing? What are they acting? What are they doing in their daily life, perhaps what are they doing in their specific point of time in their life, what are they doing in certain in certain space in their culture, what are they doing in specific times, in specific months, in specific occasion of their culture. So anthropology is about understanding people, and you yourself here, you are trying to understand people from the point of view as an anthropologist. So imagine yourself as an anthropology who are looking at people, not just looking at people, but you are trying to understand people. You are trying to understand behavior of the people from the perspective of a human as a human. So we are not um, trying to understand people from the from other kinds of discipline. For example, I give you um, any kinds of philosophy. For example, performance studies. Let's say performance studies or performance theory that is not involved in anthropology, but anyway, performance studies also involve anthropology. But let's assume performance studies in performance theory does not involve anthropology. So you are trying to look at people not from the point of view as you yourself as a people as well. So you are trying to look at from another point of view. So let's say you are trying to look at people from the economic perspective. So you understand people from their economic behavior. So from there, you should understand that you are trying to understand people not from their behavior as people who are using money, who are using currency in their daily life, but you are trying to look at the perspective of economics to understand the people. So the behavior of using that kind of currency and money is looked at from the point of view of an economics perspective. Therefore, you are neglecting, you are not looking at humanism perspective, whereby you may include um, your empathy in understanding that kind of situation. So if you Google anthropology, you will find that it is this kind of definition, where it explains about scientific study of humans, human behavior, and societies. So here we are trying to use anthropology to understand human behavior and also society in the past and also in the present. That is why the importance of anthropology in understanding dance, because you can understand dance from the point of view of other kinds of discipline which does not involve anthropology, but here you you should you should assume yourself as a researcher who go to the field and trying to understand human movements or human behavior that is done by the people in kampong or in other kinds of societies which have been done in the past or which are done here in the present. So that is basically what anthropology is. It is the study of humans. So if you understand that, you will understand anthropology of dance, not because you understand dance from the perspective of dance as arts or dance as movement only, but you understand dance as parts of human behavior that is done or that is make that is performed in the past and also in the present. Okay, can you tell me what is this?
Human
Dog.
dog face,
Dog, dog,
Human,
dog with a human,
non-human.
Human, non-human, dog face, human body, dog face, hybrid of man and animal. So This is one of the example of how people out there trying to interpret and trying to portray, trying to show people of what their understanding of what human is. So you have you ever imagined what is alien form? How does alien move? Alien from outer space. Does alien have hands and legs? Does alien have bodies like human? That is why when you see alien types of movie, they always look like human, which those alien have hands and legs and body and some kind of head, because you are trying to show people your understanding of what you didn't know from the perspective of you yourself as a human. Understand this? You
Yes,
show people, you explain to people, okay, I think alien is look like this. I think people from Mars look like this. So you imagine alien from your limited knowledge as a human. It's not about your limited knowledge, but it's about your understanding of what are the kinds of form, maybe perhaps human form, or another kind of life form in outer space, from the perspective of you yourself as a human. That is why you try to portray alien as though they are human. So this is very important to understand um, what anthropology is, because you always try to understand and also try to interpret. First understand and try to interpret, and then you try to portray or exhibit or articulate to explain from the perspective of a human. That is why there is one concept in anthropology, which is anthropomorphism, which gives objects or animals human characteristic to make them appear as human. That is why in some culture they portray their god or goddess as which looks like human, because they cannot think about anything else. You can find this in the internet. Don't don't write it down. Wait ah. Hello. Apa dia bang?
yang naik tingkat 5 tu.
Tingkat 5.
Tak, lift daripada tu. Yang tengah tu yang
Bang,
pada lift.
naik lift yang tengah, yang kecil. Kalau yang besar tu tak boleh tekan nombor 5.
Yang tengah kan?
Yang tengah, yang kecil sikit.
Okey, okey.
Yang ada apa ni, peti surat tu.
Ya, ya, ya.
Okey bang. Dah sampai eh?
Sampai kat rumah.
Okay, right. Guys, can you give me 5 minutes? I come back later. Yeah. Siapa? Siapa tu? Oh, Oh, Aina ni. Aina tu bunga sikit. Jawab dengan dia. Jawab dengan dia. SKM. SKM. Ambil. Bagi dia ni. Hi. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's continue. So as you have Google before this class, there are at least four, and some websites tells you that there are five fields in anthropology. So these are basically the fields in anthropology: biological, linguistic, sociocultural, and also archaeological. Um, and these fields looks at anthropology differently. So, for example, in archaeology, they try to understand people from the archaeological artifacts or archaeological sites that have been digged or that have been found by the archaeologists. So the purpose is simple. The purpose is to understand people in the past by looking at archaeological sites and also archaeological artifacts that they have found. So the other fields you can read lah, but we will go into linguistic anthropology in our perhaps seventh or eighth class. All right. So we will look at cultural anthropology. Um, so basically, sociocultural or cultural anthropologists, they explore how people in different places live and also understand the world around them. So explore how people in different places live. It means that you are looking at the same people that lives in different places. So, for example, you know that Malaysia, we are multicultural, we are multilingual, and also a lot of people have traveled all around Malaysia. So you have Iban people in Semenanjung, you have Iban people in Sarawak as well as in Sabah. So you have maybe you have Kadazan people lives in Sabah and also lives in Semenanjung part of Malaysia. So they are the same people, but they are living in different places. And also the importance of knowing about this is we as an anthropologist or we as a sociocultural anthropologist try to understand the world uh, around them. That means how they live their life in different places, but they are the same people, but they live in different places. So even even in one even they are living in one country, they may have speak or dress or eat or perhaps treat others differently. So that means if you are the same Iban people, but you live in Kuala Lumpur, for example, you may have speak differently and you dress differently, but you are still Iban people. This is why anthropologists they are trying to understand what is this? What is this? How to understand these people? What is this phenomena? How do we listen to all the voices or all the opinions of why people speak and dress differently in other place where they live? So you read about cultural anthropology and linguistic anthropology after this class because we will use these two area in our in the whole semester. Okay. Um, so, as we have discussed, anthropology is the study of what makes us human. So, we are looking at human behavior. So, if anthropology of dance, it means that we are looking at dance, which is human behavior, dance as human behavior, from the perspective of human, or from the dancer's perspective. So we try to understand dance that is performed by people from the perspective of that people who are performing the dance. So normally this kind of perspective is shared by audience members, or by the dancers, by the dancers who dance in the culture, by the dance experts who are organizing, or exploiting, or maybe manipulating, or arranging this event where they dance together as a people in that particular culture. So that is anthropology of dance, which means you are trying to understand dance from the perspective of people who are performing the dance within their culture. So you cannot explain, or you cannot understand that kind of dance from reading other books, or from asking people who are not participating in that culture. For example, I'm trying to understand a dance that is performed by orang asli community in Perak, for example. So the way to understand this kind of dance that is performed by orang asli is to ask the orang asli about their understanding of their dance, not trying to understand dance from the perspective of others. So that is why it's wrong to understand them. Okay, before, when when during colonial time, people from Europe came to Malaysia. So they when they came to Malaysia, they look at dance that is performed in the palace, that is performed in the village. When they come back to their home country, they will try to explain to people about this kind of dance that they have watched in our country. So the way they understand and the way they explain that kind of dance which they have watched in our country is coming from their own perspective, which is wrong in the field of anthropology. In this field, you have to explain the dance as explained, as understood by the people who are performing that dance. Let's say you are coming from Kadazan people. You yourself as a Kadazan. When you are explaining your dance, for example, Sumazau, you have to explain the dance as explained by the people who are practicing Sumazau dance in the village, who are practicing Sumazau within the ritual as practiced by the people in the village, not as performed in the stage performance, not as performed in Semenanjung, not as performed in YouTube, not as taught and performed in higher institution, for example. So that is why anthropology of dance is very important, because because you are explaining the dance from the perspective of people who are the beholder of that tradition. So beholder of that tradition, that means beholder is someone, not someone, uh, a set of society, a set of people who observe and practice the dance as practiced within the culture, not practice outside the culture, but practice within their culture. So that is anthropology of dance. Okay, now can you try to look at Wikipedia? What is dance anthropology and what is ethnochoreology? Try to look at in Wikipedia what is dance anthropology and what is ethnochoreology. Can someone read for me?
Alright. Um, at the Wikipedia, they say eth- ethnochronology, also dance ethnology, dance anthropology, is the study of dance through the application of a number of disciplines such as anthropology,
Mhm.
musicology, ethnomusicology, and ethnography.
Okay, yes, correct. Eh, Apa bang? Sabun dekat dapur. Ah. Okay, so ethnochoreology. You guys are not taking ethnochoreology class, but your junior, uh, we have reviewed our program structure, which include ethnochronology as part of the subjects within the structure. We have taken out dance anthropology. Basically, dance anthropology is quite uh, old discipline, but never mind. It is still ethnochoreology because anthropology is part of ethnochoreology, but ethnochoreology is much more bigger than dance anthropology, which includes ethnomusicology, um, um, and also musicology and ethnography. So the word itself, ethnochronology, it means the study of ethnic dance. Ethno means ethnic, and choreology means the study of dance, which means you are studying the ethnic dance that is available anywhere in your country lah. So that it's not this is not exclusive research in more formalized form, which is happening on stage, which is happening in the as pop culture or popular culture, such as classical ballet, for example, or creative dance that is performed anywhere in Malaysia. But um, the field of ethnochoreology is basically an attempt to apply academic thought of to why people dance and what it means. So it is basically the same with dance anthropology. In anthropology, you ask a basic question, which is why. So anthropologists always ask question when they go to the field and doing their field work. They ask why question. Why do you perform like this? Why is it like this? Why do you have to perform in pairs? Why do you have to perform why do only men perform this kind of dance? Why not women? Why do you have to perform at night? Why not daytime? Why do you have to perform in every 3 months, for example? Why do you have to perform once a year? So anthropologists ask question of why people dance and trying to understand the objective of the or the purpose of why people dance. Um, okay, so anthropology of dance, it examine from two perspectives. So you have the book, so you should find this information in the book. So dance anthropology examine from two perspectives, which is one as an object of study in its own right, and second as a practice, the study of which enables understanding of the other domains of human activity, such as gender, politics, memory, kinship, religion, identity, mobility, health, or cognition. Okay, for some researchers, um, uh, a dance study is about the historical unique. So some study, they look at the from the historical perspective. That means they only uncover or they only ask question about the historical side of why people dance. For example, some kind of dance, they perform because they have some kind of historical sentiment out of it. For example, Buto dance in 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 in, in Japan. And for some researchers, the study of dance should also contribute to a generalizing comparative social science. So this is how people look at dance. So they are trying to compare dance culture that is happening in one place with dance culture that is happening in other places. For example, you you can also do comparative study on dance culture that is happening here in Malaysia. For example, Joget Gamelan, and try to compare this dance culture with Javanese dance that is available in Yogyakarta, for example. Okay, next we have functional studies, which means it looks at the meaning of dance that is available, that is there as a consequences for social and personality systems. So, in some study of dance anthropology, they also look at functional studies. So they only look at the function of dance within the society. So maybe they are looking at latent function or manifest function, whatever function that may have arise from the performing the dance. Some studies also look at structural study, which focus on identifying the physical movement of that repertoire of that dance. So structural studies look at how people move and why people move from the analysis of physical dance movement. Okay, and then you have communication studies, which include the interaction between human and also socio-cultural context, sociological settings, and also the dynamics of what dance is and what is assigned to dance. So people can also look at communication between performers and also audience, communication between dancers and musicians, and also communication between human and non-human entities such as gods, such as spirits, and and also um, their ancestors who have passed. Okay, so in the book that I gave you, Royce insists that dance should be analyzed as part of a dance event rather than as an isolated phenomenon. It means that you are looking at dance um, as a whole configuration of a dance event. So you are not, let's say for example, you are attending a ritual in your community or in your kampong. So a ritual itself is a dance event. So you are trying to understand that dance of and why the dance is performed in that particular ritual as a whole event. So you are not just looking at dance only. So you are looking at the whole event as a dance event which is performed by the community and performed in totality lah. So you are trying to understand the significance of dance within the event in totality. So from there you will understand the uniqueness of the phenomenon. So the book Anthropology of Dance, which have written by Anya Peterson Royce. The book is divided into three major sections. The first section introduced the anthropology of dance. The second one is about theoretical foundation and also theoretical approach to the field of dance study within the anthropology. And also the last segment of the book discussed the future directions of research and also one more chapter of conclusion. So go on, read the book because the book will be used as our major reference in this class. Meaning. No, 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 not yet. We will not discuss meaning, but we will discuss meaning in our later class lah. Okay, any question for now? Class? Question. Question. Eh, Question. If there is no question, that means you don't understand lah. Easy lah. Ron, are you okay?
Yes, long term.
Totally understand or totally don't understand?
Just because just now I didn't find the books, but Farah already shared with me. So later I can just check again.
Yes. So the way to understand
But
this.
I can, yeah, but I can understand what you say.
Okay, the way to understand this subject is very easy. Is for you to read about anthropology first. Then only you read. Then only you read the book, because you cannot understand the book without having the basic foundation of what is anthropology.
Okay, I got it.
The rest of you?
Thank you.
Yes, yes. The rest of you, Sharin?
Yes, sir.
Ah, Sharin? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay ke? Apa kau faham? Explain sikit. For example, anthropology of dance. Okay, let's say you are an anthropologist who are studying dance in one of the dance culture in Malaysia. If you are an anthropologist, you will never address, let's say for example, Iban dance. You will never address Ajat as a dance, because Ajat translates. What does Ajat means? So Ajat, the word Ajat literally means dance. Correct? Correct or not? So the word tarian Ajat or tarian ngajat is ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous because you are repeating the same word using different language. Am I correct? Same goes to tarian igal in Sabah. Igal means dance. So when you explain to people, I mean, let's say you are not an anthropologist, you explain to people about the dance. So this tarian is called tarian igal-igal. If igal means dance, that means you are repeating the same word 3 times. So then only the 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 title of that repertoire, not only the title, but you also explain the dance not from the perspective of that people. For example, what is ajat dance? And you can find in the internet that people are trying to people are explaining ngajat dance using not using but exoticizing. You guys search lah, what does it mean? Exoticizing. Exotic. Exoticizing. Exotic, from the word exotic. Exoticizing the explanation of dance explaining the dance from the point of view of its performance on stage, not from the point of view of what the dance as practiced by people in the village. Let's look at one example. Hold on, let me. Mm, yeah. Okay, no need. Any more question? Siapa? Anastasia, okay ke?
Okay, sir.
Okay ke? Explain sikit. Explain sikit.
About anthropology.
Explain apa-apa.
Uh, Anthropology is the study of what makes us human. And then anthropology ni campur.
Boleh.
Okay. Antropologi ini juga adalah untuk kita memahami tentang manusia. Lepas tu dalam antropologi ini dia ada terbahagi kepada empat subfield. Macam antropologi cultural punya dengan linguistik dengan biological.
Okay, never mind. If you look at, okay, make sure you read the book. Let me show you one part of the book that is very important. In page 15. Let me just zoom this. So, let's look at here. Okay, Merriam. Merriam is Alan P. Merriam, a great ethnomusicologist and ethnochoreologist. So she conclude that dance is culture and culture is dance, which simply means you have to understand dance from the point of view of that particular culture. And the entity of dance is not separable from the anthropological concept of culture. So here means you cannot run away from understanding what is culture from the perspective of anthropology, and you cannot separate your understanding of dance from the anthropological concept of culture, which means you have to read about anthropology and read about culture before you understand what is dance. Uh, okay, yeah, make sure you read. I think the reading is quite it's not that heavy. Uh, uh, just in case you read and you don't understand, please come back to me and ask me question, because I cannot read the book for you. You have to read it, and when you have question, you ask me. Uh, that's how it goes lah. Okay. Any more question before we conclude? Okay, if there is no more question, we will stop here. I'll see you guys next week. Revin.